She slammed the menu on the table, eyes cold as ice. "We don't serve your kind here," the waitress sneered, her voice slicing through the air like broken glass. At first, the black family thought they had misheard her, but as their smiles faded, the cruel smirk on her lips told them she meant every word. The mother's heart sank as humiliation rushed over her. She clutched her child's hand tighter, her nails pressing into her palm as if holding herself together. Whispers spread through the diner. Some customers looked over with curiosity, others with pity, but not one spoke up. The waitress leaned on the booth, arms crossed, radiating arrogance. She believed she held all the power in that room. The father sat quietly, his jaw tight, his deep brown eyes narrowing with restrained fury. His hand pressed firmly on the table, steady, grounding himself. He would not lash out. He would not give her the satisfaction. The child's wide eyes darted between his parents and the waitress, confusion filling his small face. His lips trembled, and he buried his hand in his mother's arm. The diner, once buzzing with chatter, now sat in heavy silence. Only the sound of clinking silverware and quiet whispers remained. The family, stripped of their joy, sat in the middle of it all, enduring humiliation under the weight of dozens of watching eyes. And then, the bell above the diner door jingled. A tall man stepped inside, his polished shoes echoing on the tile floor. His presence alone made the room freeze. Dressed in a sharp charcoal gray suit, white shirt, and burgundy tie, his bald head gleamed beneath the diner lights. His salt and pepper beard framed eyes that burned with authority and compassion. The CO, the owner of the restaurant chain. The waitress' smirk faltered. Her confidence wavered as the man scanned the room, his gaze landing on the black family, then shifting to her. "Is this how we treat our guests?" His voice boomed, commanding the room. The waitress stumbled over her words. I didn't know." But he cut her off sharply. "Didn't know what? That respect is the bare minimum in this place." His words thundered, and gasps spread to the diner. He walked over to the family's table, his steps deliberate, his presence overwhelming. Gently, he placed a hand on the father's shoulder. His voice softened, respectful. "Welcome. You and your family are my honored guest tonight." Then, his face hardened again as he turned to the waitress. "You're fired. Effective immediately." The waitress' face drained a color. Her knees trembled, her lips parted in shock. Moment ago, she had believed she was untouchable. Now, stripped of her arrogance, she stood powerless before the very man who built everything she worked under. The mother exhaled, tears pricking her eyes. For once, someone powerful had spoken for them. The child looked up at his mother with a small smile, his fear melting into relief. The father nodded firmly, finally letting a quiet breath escape his clenched jaw. But the CEO wasn't finished. He turned toward the diners, every single customer who had sat in silence, complicit. "And shame on all of you," he thundered, his voice shaking the walls. "You saw injustice unfold right before your eyes, and you said nothing." The room shifted uncomfortably. Some lowered their heads in shame, others looked away. For the first time that night, they were forced to confront their silence. The waitress begged weakly, "Please, sir, it was just a mistake." But the CEO's gaze was unforgiving. "No, it was a choice, a cruel one, and now you'll live with it." He pointed toward the door. "Leave, and never step foot in my establishment again." The waitress stumbled back, her smugness gone, her career in shambles. She fled out the door, the echo of her downfall following her into the night. The family was guided to the best booth in the diner. Under the warm glow of a neon sign, plates of food were brought out swiftly, and for the first time that evening, laughter replaced pain. The child giggled as he dug into his meal. The mother's tears turned into a smile, and the father sat tall, his dignity restored. The CEO stood at a distance, watching, his expression softening. But he knew he had more to say. He approached once more, this time lowering his voice. "I owe you more than an apology," he said firmly. "What happened tonight should never happen to anyone." The mother shook her head gently, her voice breaking. "You've done enough. You stood up for us when no one else would." Her eyes glistened, her dignity shining brighter than ever. But the CEO leaned closer, his words deliberate. I built this company to bring people together, not tear them apart. And I need men like you. He looked at the father, strong, calm under pressure, unwilling to be broken. The father blinked, unsure what he meant. The CEO smiled. How would you like to join my management team? The diner erupted with gasps. The mother covered her mouth in shock, and the child's face lit up with pure joy. The father, stunned, struggled to find words. Finally, he stood, extending his hand. I'd be honored. The CEO gripped his hand firmly. Around them, the same customers who had sat in silence now rose to their feet, clapping, cheering. Justice had been served, and something greater had been born. The CEO bent down to the child's level, his voice warm. And you, young one, remember this night. You saw what silence does, and you saw what courage can do. Never forget. The child nodded, his wide eyes filled with hope. As the family left the diner that night, escorted with honor, their heads held high, they walked into a new future. What had begun as humiliation ended in triumph. What had begun in silence ended in justice. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories that matter. And let's keep the conversation going.